Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. And this is the first review of the new year. Let's get started. This is the Mount Gay, um, what shall we call it here? The single estate Barbados rum from 2023. That was the year it was issued. And everything about it screams premium, whether it's the bottle, which is the same 1703, style bottle, but darker. The minimalist labeling, the fact that it is made from sugarcane that is grown on their own estate. They actually had bought about 325 acres back in 2015 or thereabouts and started growing their own cane on it. And the price, which is about 350 pounds, I think, so about 400 US dollars, 400 and something euros or something like that. It's really quite a pricey rum, so it's kind of like screams exclusive, right? There have been 4,000 bottles of this thing out in the open, and 1,200 of those went to the United States. The rest was to the rest of the world, the EU, Australia, India, wherever this thing is sold. I actually never saw this in Canada. What can I tell you about it? Well, it is 55%. It is actually a blend of two rums, one 5 years old, one 6 years old, from the 2016 and 2017 harvests. And it was run through a pot still, absolutely pot still all the way. And the fermentation period of, let's say, about 9 days gives it a little bit of oomph. So that part is all very nice. So clearly, Mount Gay is not just satisfied with its master blenders editions or its wine cask editions, or the various little experimentals that they've done to try and go upscale a bit, but they certainly have tried. What's it like? I must admit, 55% does make a nice little statement. It's firm, it's strong, it's not too spicy, it is extremely aromatic. It has a lot of agricole notes to it. It has that light, clean, clear, almost grassy, but not quite vegetal notes to it, but those go away really quickly, and then you start to have something a bit more traditional. You've got lychees, dragon fruit, soursop. You basically get a fair amount of the standard aromatics of toffee, vanilla, a little bit of char, ashes, that kind of thing. It really is very, very nice. And the taste isn't any slouch either. Oh, yeah, really quite nice. Really, really quite nice. So a lot of that clarity and that cleanliness of the original nose that you sense tends to go away, and it settles down, as if it's like afraid that, oh, well, we can't go too far in that direction, And it does taste of caramel, toffee, vanilla, char, ashes. It has a nice tart fruitness to it. Again, it's lychees that I think of, or guinnep, or soursop, that kind of thing. It's got a little bit of burnt orange rind, however strange that may seem. And I swear to God, this is true. It also kind of tastes a little bit like tamarind and jerk chicken, if you really want to think about it, however crazy that may sound. It's really quite good. The finish, you tend to be hit and miss with Mount Gay, and some of them are better than others, but this one is really quite good. It's glass medium long. It's got all that fruits, a little bit of salt, a little bit of anise, brine, olives, and again the fruits come out there. The balance is really quite good. This is really quite an incredible rum, and I am going to score this at 88 points. The 55% is almost like the perfect strength for it. I've got no objections to that. And overall, this is a rum that is absolutely worth getting if you can, which leads me to 2 points. One, the marketing for this says a lot about trying to put together the terroir of Barbados in a rum in a way, for example, that the French island agricoles do, right? Or the Jamaicans with their funk, or the Demerara's with their wooden still notes, like the Port Morant and so on. But for my money, we don't have enough experience with this kind of thing, because just about every distillery gets its molasses from somewhere else, not from Barbados itself. So we don't have that much experience in understanding, well, what is Barbados terroir? What are its characteristics? What is it that sets it apart from everybody else? It's a very good rum. There's no question about it. It's just that if you're going to make a thing about terroir, you've got to kind of say what that terroir is. And that is something that I don't actually see. Others with more balanced or more perceptive snoots than mine can probably pick that up better than I can. All I'm saying is that for me, it simply is a good rum without having to worry about all that other stuff. The other thing I wanted to mention is that price. Now, granted, this is a very special edition. It's a very limited edition. And as a consequence, the company does have to find a way to recoup its costs from something that they make themselves. They're not getting cheap molasses from somewhere. They're literally milling the cane and making the molasses themselves and then putting it all through the pot stills and so on. So yes, there are going to be costs that have to be recouped as a consequence of that. But when you think about the fact that this is a blend of 5 and 6 year old rums, yeah, it's, like $400 is just a bit too much. You can get a 30-year-old for that price and it'll probably be better, or at least very close to this. And therefore, I kind of suggest that if you can get a sample of this, it's probably better than trying to get the whole bottle, unless you have very deep pockets. The other thing I wanted to mention is the label. Now, the label has this code on it, 2301 BNQA. What that means, it is released in 2023, not distilled, released in 2023. It's batch number 1. I think they're up to batch number 4 as of 2025. And the BNQA is the barrels in which it was aged. BN for bourbon, QA for Quercus Alba, which is American oak. I may have been virgin American oak for all I know. It didn't actually say. One more point I'd like to make here is that there is a QR code on this, which is really quite useful. If you think I've given you a fair bit of information here, you really got to see what they did in that webpage of theirs. When you go there and you start to look at this, you get everything. You get the stills, you get the fermentation time, you've got the varieties of sugarcane, you've got the history, the backstory, the people who are involved, just about everything. You can't ask for more than this. It's absolutely brilliant. And I really, really like that kind of disclosure because, of course, as you know, I think that too much of this is lacking, especially with blended rums, even from major houses. The coding, this code here is also something that I'd like to mention very briefly, because I think that it is something that I'd like to see more of from just about every other maker. Now, if you recall, when I did the McDowell's rum not too long ago, they have a laser stamp on the side of the label that says which year and which batch it was made of. I find that kind of thing is very useful, but I think we could go further. We could have codes for things like stills, for fermentation types, for the source of the cane, for whether it's an agricole or jaggery or panello or molasses. We could say something about the barrels in which it was aged and, something. There could be codes for all of this. Now, granted, that's probably too much to ask for and it'll never be a global standard, but it's just something that I'd like to see. Let's just sum up what's going on here. The rum is a blend of 5 to 6 years old. It is 55%. It is an absolutely wonderful piece of work. I am going to score this at 88 points. I'm just going to go 87 or 86 or thereabouts, but I keep tasting it and I keep thinking it just keeps getting better over time. And I think that is something that, aside from the price, is absolutely worth getting. And that's pretty much it. All I have for today. We'll talk again later.